The art of screen printing.
Hey everybody, it's Lon and Cory with Graphic Elephants, and this is the art of screen printing presented by GSG. We're going to work on setting up spot colors, not only in Illustrator from last time, but now we're moving into Photoshop, where it's also just as important to set up spot colors moving forward. Cory, you want to share your screen and show us how that's done?
Absolutely. Okay, just like in Illustrator, same GSG logo, 4 colors. The difference between Illustrator and Photoshop is that Illustrator is object-oriented based, so you take an object that you make and then you fill it in color. With Photoshop, it's more rasterized information. So even though this is a shape, it's not literally an object how Illustrator is. It's usually made up of very tiny pixels, depending on your resolution especially. But just like Illustrator, we need to have these colors in spots. Some people do use layers, and for this exercise, you will need your layers palette and your channels palette. You can see mine here as well. Go ahead, and if you're not familiar with the wand tool, it's over here in your tool palette. We're going to use the wand tool to make a selection of each shape individually as the color as it applies. So for white, we're just going to go ahead and lasso those, basically magic wand those. And you can see the marching ants here. If you're familiar with Photoshop, that means that something is selected. So we're going to go over here to channels. And the reason we use channels is it's very advantageous for screen printing, even though Photoshop was not made for screen printers. Channels sort of acts like an actual working positive. If you are been around in the industry long enough and you did film positives, you knew that a positive was basically black information on a clear piece of acetate so that you could do an exposure to your screen. A single channel, and we're actually going to go into your drop-down menu here, new spot channel is what you're looking for. When you do that, it's going to give you this option, new spot channel. So it's telling you already that it's a spot. Now, we want white, and I already have white in there, so we're just going to say OK here as well. I'm going to turn off these, because now you can see that the white, it's actually black, but in fact, it really still is the white color. But because channels works only in black and white, it's very similar to how a positive would look when you're going to basically to burn or expose your screens. So let's go and do that with the red, yellow, and the blue. So I'm going to basically magic wand the red here. I'm going to go back over to our drop-down menu for new spot channel. And of course, it always defaults to the last channel that you made. So don't let this confuse you. Just go into color and find the color that you want. In this case, we want to use red. So let's go ahead and make that red. We're going to title it red and say OK. And then we'll do the same thing with the yellow. Go over here. New spot channel, make sure it's in yellow. That's not yellow, that's green. And let's go back over to our layer and go to the blue. Back to channels, new spot color, blue. And there's our 4 colors. But now let's look at them individually. And you can see again that each one is like a positive. It's just black and white. Now, in order to be able to see the colors, channels is interesting. You can look at every individual channel as black and white, but the minute you turn on another color, it's going to give you a preview of that color. Now we're kind of not seeing the white here, and typically I will put a swatch of color behind it, like black, for instance, here, so that we can turn on our colors and we can see that that is in fact our image. So just remember, if you're only in a single channel, it's only going to view as black and white. But the minute you turn on all your other channels, you can preview it in color. And again, these are all in spot, which is very good for output to your device and your software. And that's the simplicity of making spots in Photoshop.
So setting up spot colors in both Illustrator and Photoshop will give us essentially the channels that are going to help us build our separations down the road. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, sounds good. He's Cory, I'm Lon. We are Graphic Elephants, and this has been the art of screen printing presented by GSG. See you next time.